Welcome back. So like I said in the last video, today I'll be attempting to do a custom homemade splitter for my RSX. I've already taken the bumper off, so you can see bumper's off of the RSX. So, and I already started mocking up my lines and how I want to cut it. So pretty much this is my design. So yeah, so I'm just gonna cut it off quick and then I'll pick up the camera and show you guys how it looks like. All right, so here is the finish template after cutting it off. I guess it doesn't look too bad, so probably gonna stick with this design and go from there, and hopefully it'll work. In the meantime, I'm just waiting for my chassis mount to come in. So I'm not sure when exactly it's gonna come in, but hopefully soon. So that way I can start buying my plywood and start cutting the actual piece out. That's how it looks like from the back end. What's up, guys? It's a new day. So I went to a store and was able to get my plywood. So here it is. This is the plywood I got. It's a birch plywood. So it's about 1/2 inch thick. I was debating if I should go with a 3/8, 3/4, but I figured 1/2 inch should be doable for now. So I'll try this first. But yeah, here's my plywood. I'm gonna start tracing it and hopefully be able to cut it off. So I also went and bought this jigsaw. It's like 19 bucks. So total everything with the board. The board was about $47, so rough. And then I also bought some paint, so about 100 bucks in parts.
Let's do that.
Alright, so got it all cut out. Now just gotta sand it down and then paint it up. The hard part is done. Doesn't look too bad. So I guess I'll catch you guys when I get all sanded and ready for paint. Finally got my what do you call it, my chassis mount brackets for the front splitter. That finally came in after about 3 weeks. Yeah, there it is. So I don't really know what I'm doing yet, but I'm just gonna mock it up, drill a couple holes, bolt them on, and go from there. So here's the bracket outside of the packaging package. So this is the 2 bracket that's gonna sit on the bottom of the splitter, and then this is what's going to be mounted onto the actual crash beam. It's going to go on top of that. It's going to lock in like that. And these black plates here, these are for underneath the splitter where it mounts. This will sit on top of the splitter, and then this plate will go underneath the splitter, like that. So that's pretty much it. Really no instructions, just mock it up and we'll go from there. So that's what I'm gonna do. I'm probably gonna start drilling the front bumper beam here. Gotta jack the car up and then start drilling. Probably gonna mount it somewhere at the tip of the headlight here. So underneath there, that's where I'm gonna bolt or mount both of them from here straight down. The same thing here, just line up with the headlight and then go from there. Okay, got the car all jacked up now. So on jack stand. Look at these 3. That's what happens when you have kids that don't go to school.
I hate school. Right, Daddy?
Right. So I didn't quite film my drilling process, but I got it drilled and it's mocked up now. So that's from where the headlight is, that's where it is. So I just gotta do the same thing on that side, and then I think we should be good. And then the rest is just alignment and making sure it fits. But man, pretty simple stuff. But I'm probably not gonna film until I get all pretty much done with the bracket part, because it's not that fun. So, but yeah, got this side done, just got one more side to go, and let's get to it. Alright, so I guess I wasn't really thinking when I was doing it earlier. I totally forgot about my tow hook that's here. I was originally gonna go back this way, but then I figured going back that way would be too far off center. So that's why I went back inside of the tape instead of going out that way. I went back inside because that would bring it closer. And so I didn't realize that my tow hook on this side was in the way. So I got my tape here. So if I were to go towards this way, towards the center, it's in the way of my tow hook. So because I don't want to re-drill, I'm just gonna do it off this way Or we'll see. Maybe I might just re-drill and make a center. But it's gonna be off. It's gonna be going back in this way, just so that way I'm not interfering with my tow hook. But I'll update you guys what I decided to do. Alright, so as I was saying earlier, kind of screwed up or made a mistake, but I went ahead and fixed it. Touched that with some touch-up paint there. So these were the 2 holes I first drilled out, and then because the other side had the tow hook, I couldn't put it in that same exact spot as this side, so I decided to drill 2 new holes and match up with the other side, so that way it's just symmetrical. So touch it up, everything's all good now. Next thing to do is just mount up the actual brackets, and then we should be good. So if some of you guys decide to buy the same kit from DevSport, I'm assuming since there's only 4 of these, and the other one is over there, but since there's only 4 of these, I'm assuming these are for the to mount the top bracket onto the crash beam, because there's only 2 holes here and then 2 over there. So, and then I think the rest of these are going to mount the actual plate then on the bottom of the splitter. So that's what I'm doing right now, is mounting these on there. So it's pretty self-explanatory. I'm not going to show it because it's hard to film. So I'm just going to do it quick and show you guys the finish part of it. So there we have it. The top mount is mounted on. All nice and secure. Same with this side. You see through this little hole here. I guess it kind of was to my benefit to move it back this way, because I was able to, if you look from the side here, I don't know, there's probably a glare in there, but you can see it. So I was able to, in order to hold that nut up there, I was able to take a wrench and have it sit in there just like that, and then was able to tighten it down. And for the other one, the further one back there, right there, I went from underneath here where my hand is and was able to stick a shorter, these nuts are 14 mil, was able to stick that back there and again tighten it down. And same thing on that side. So now all nice and secure. So next part is the next this bracket. So I'm going down the bag. The top bolt up here was for the mounting onto the crash beam, and then these bolts here in the middle are what's here. And I'm assuming common sense, because these are shorter, these are going to go in here, mounting this bottom mount onto that side bracket there that we had on the car. And then these longer ones on the bottom here, these will be for the actual bottom part down here where it mounts to the actual splitter itself. So with that being said, I'm going to mount these on quick and go from there. Alright, so I figured I'd give an update. It's not as easy as I thought it would be, just because everything's all from scratch. But hopefully everything's lined up right, because I only got one shot. So the rough template, that's where the mounting bracket's gonna be for the splitter. So I'm just gonna drill out quick. Same on this side. And then I also cut my bump. Oops. Crap laying everywhere. I also cut my bumper too. This side I cut it pretty nice, but feel bad for this side because you know, when you first time doing stuff, there's gonna be some oopsies, and I cut it way too big because I figure it was supposed to cover this whole plate. That's why you see a big opening down there, but technically it's just for this part. Technically just for, yeah, let me set it down. It's just for this part here, but I thought that this part needed to be cut out too, so that's why it's so big like that. But I mean, it's gonna be down underneath anyway, so it's not gonna see it, but still, that kind of ruined my bumper. But yeah, so I'll just drill the holes quick and we'll go from there. Alright, so got it all drilled, so you can see in the time lapse. So now I'm gonna put it back on the car again and see if we can get it mounted on there for a better mock-up now. So alright, it's a gorgeous day out here. It's a Sunday afternoon, May 20, no, not May, April 26th, I believe. But anyways, got the splitter out on the sawhorse. So I'm just gonna, got all my holes drilled out. So I'm just gonna sand this quick and then spray paint on it, and hopefully I can put it on the car. So I'm not gonna sand it that good. This is the bottom side of it, so I'm just gonna touch up these little area here where I was drilling, trying to rip some of the wood off. So I'll time lapse on and we'll go from there. Okay, so while my paint is drying, I'm gonna start drilling my my splitter rod in the front. So here's a bumper beam. I already have it marked somewhat. So there's a black dot there, and then a black dot on this side. So I'm gonna drill that so I can get my hook in. So I don't even know if I'm gonna film, but we'll see. So the holes are drilled, nice and clean. Just gotta touch a little bit of paint. And we should be ready there. I think they're pretty much lined up. So yeah, now I'll go back out and finish painting the splitter, and then she should be good to go, hopefully. I guess I'll see you guys once I get it all painted up. Then I'll pick up the camera again. What is wrong with you?
I'm gonna be a winner. Look at me.
You're a winner?
Yeah.
You gotta go faster. There you go. Slow down.
Bye. I'm the winner, Titus.
Looking pretty good.
Winner.
Dad, don't do that.
I think it makes a joke going
Yeah.
on.
All right, so here's the finished outcome of my painting. It's all nice and dry now. I use a bed liner to paint this, because that's what some of the forums said to use. So that's pretty much what I did. So it should be fully clear. And this is the actual front side of it. So all nice and good. I don't know what that is. But yeah, she's good to go. I'm gonna I don't know what that's about, but put that on the car. So here's how it looks under here. We got the brackets all mounted now on top of there. And then as far as hardware wise, these are my front splitter rods. So that's there. These are the two side back inner rods from that, and then I'm using these little hooky things to hook it in. There's the front. I cut a little notch in there so I could hook it in. You guys will see when I have it all done. But this is all the hardware I have. These are my bottom plates. I got these plates at the local hardware store and just drill a big hole in there in the center. And these are the plates that came with the Dev Sports for the bottom of the mount for these brackets. And then the hardware, the Dev Sport
provided for these are the bolts for the bottom bracket, but because of my splitter board and the plate here along with this part, it's too thick or too deep for this short bolt, so I ended up having to go longer. I think this bolt here is only an inch long, so I went with a 1¼ inch bolt, which is actually, so here's a difference. So that's the difference between the two of them. But besides that, everything should be good. So let's go from there. I'm just gonna start mounting it up, and hopefully we'll get it all done. Before I forget, for my two back rod support, I was pretty fortunate to find the RSX got a hole back here right underneath the headlight. So I just mounted this eye hook thing up here, and then like I said, just put one of these little opening and locking ends on both sides, hook onto the eye hook up there. I think that's what you call it, eye hook. And then same thing on this side. I didn't have to drill any hole. As you can see, there was already a hole up there, so it lined up perfectly. And then on the RSX, underneath the splash shield front here, there's a little hole here, so I just drill a hole underneath my board, perfectly centered down here, and then that's where I put my other eye hook. And then it's the same thing on this side. There's a hole down here, so I just drill a hole there. Let's see what these are called. Oh, eye bolt. Yeah, that's what they're called, eye bolt. So yeah, that's it. Guess I'll put the what do you call it? I guess I'll put you guys. So yeah, I'll put the GoPro on and start installing it. Alright guys, so it's been a while since I last filmed, but here's a little update to the car. Yesterday I just went to autocrossing event and got the wheels all cleaned up. I did, before I went, I did put the Dev Sports winglet on. This is my homemade splitter, so I had to do a little bit of modification to fit the winglet on. I had to make this little bracket here. This back one I was able to use the supply hardware that came with it, but that front bracket I had to modify or buy a bracket in order to make it work, but I think it looks pretty good. And then last time you guys see the splitter, it was much longer, but I ended up having to cut it off, and now it's more round. So the reason for me having to cut it is so that way it'll make it easier to load it onto my trailer. Even with this setup, it's still pretty hard to get it on the trailer by yourself because it's so close to the edge of the trailer fender. So you only have so much room, and one little mistake and you're gonna pretty much damage the whole splitter. But that's the reason why I end up having to cut it, but this is how it looks. I think it looks pretty good. Survived yesterday's autocross event. The track was very small. It was more like a go-kart track with a lot of elevation changes and a lot of big dips. I scraped when I was going down some of those dips, but it was just hitting the bolts from under here. It was just hitting more of these bolts. So nothing got damaged, even though I was pretty scared, but it was just scraping those bolts down there. But besides that, today I'll be, actually, what's today's date? Today is, oh, today is actually June 1st. So it's the first day of June. Oh man, my throat is so itchy. I'm gonna put these winglet on, hopefully. Not winglet. These are canards. So I'm gonna install the canards. I'm gonna have to take out the bumper, drill a couple holes, and put the canards on. And then, as far as my whole front end goes, it'll be all done as far as aero wise. So maybe I'll get some on the side down the road, but as far as aero on the front, it's all completed. So yeah, I probably won't film until I put it on. It's pretty straightforward. I think it goes somewhere like that on the front bumper, and then you just have to drill a couple holes and put the brackets on, and you're done. So I'll show you guys when I have it all done. So here's one last look of the bumper before the canard goes on. Alright guys, so here's the finished product. Here is the canards install. So it doesn't really line up perfectly. It's got some gap in there, and it's not really symmetrical with the other side because it was very hard to line up. But I mean, if you're not looking at it very closely, you're not gonna be able to tell. But yeah, bumper looks like trash, but whatever. So that's it. All the aero for the front should be done, and now we can move on to something else. So hopefully these parts will last a couple seasons, but for now we're good on the front end. So yeah, that pretty much wraps it up for this video, I guess. So I'll see you guys in the next one. Peace out.
Walking alone, the streets are empty. The only thing I can see is my own silhouette. I'm getting stronger.